In 3,
Everybody ready?
2, 1.
Welcome to the Jeremiah Show. Springtime is here, and guided by the seasons and nurtured by the California sunshine, Santa Barbara-based author, master gardener, home chef, and serial entertainer Valerie Rice has created a gorgeous debut cookbook that will put the joy back into cooking. And we could probably all use that right now. We've probably all done our same recipe for over and over for about a year and a half. We're ready for some new recipes. The book is called Lush Life. What a great title. Lush Life, Food and Drinks from the Garden. I'm just going to tell you at the top here, do yourself a favor, multitask, get on Amazon right now and order a copy. Again, it's called Lush Life, Food and Drinks from the Garden by author Valerie Rice and photographer Gemma Ingalls. So more than just a collection of recipes for food and drinks from the garden, Lush Life includes what, when, and how to plant a garden that will feed and inspire all year round. In her debut book, Valerie brings together more than 150, Dr. D, of her favorite seasonal recipes for entertaining, family meals, snacks, and so much more, including another thing we all probably need right now, a little bit, cocktails. And we've got wine commentary from award-winning sommelier and winemaker Rajat Parr. Valerie and her edible garden are also featured in the current issue of Sunset Magazine. I love this. This is a cause that we at the Jeremiah Show are behind, and Valerie is as well, along with so many great chefs and restaurateurs and entrepreneurs out there. LA loves Alex's lemonade. She's a big supporter. I like this when I was watching Fran Lebowitz on Netflix. There's a series that Marty Scorsese did on her, and she had there was a quote. She was walking along the streets, and there was a quote by Francis Bacon that made me think of Valerie's book. The quote goes like this: "Some books are to be tasted, others to be swallowed, and some few to be chewed and digested. That is, some books are to be read only in parts, others to be read but not curiously, and some few are to be read wholly and with diligence and attention." That's Francis Bacon from the Essays. Valerie Rice's new book, Lush Life, Food and Drinks from the Garden, is one such book, to be savored for sure, to be ear tagged, opened, and a go-to back to the book time and time again. It is lush, it is beautiful, it is life. Please help me welcome our very special guest, author Valerie Rice. Hi, Valerie.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you for, thank you. Thank you for the book. I have a digital copy that, and I'm going to order mine like I suggested, so that it's such a beautifully photographed book with so many great recipes. I need to put this in the kitchen.
And you know, that's a subject we've talked about years ago, about food photography. And boy, when you have a book that's got great looking food.
Yeah, it's hard to do too. It's a real art form. But Valerie's food just looks amazing. I think she starts with such great ingredients and products from her garden and elsewhere. What inspired you to write the book, Valerie?
Well, that's a good question. I wrote a gardening and food blog for years called Eat, Drink, Garden. And so I always imagined that I would be able to put all the information into a book. And so that's really how it started. And it took years and years. The process was laborious.
What an undertaking, huh?
Yeah. And it was really important for me to have the recipes presented in seasons, because really that's just so natural to how I cook. But you can imagine how many more recipes you have then if you have 5 cocktails in every season. And it was also important that it wasn't just a cookbook, but it was kind of a handbook to utilize for entertaining, to have suggestions for gardening, and to have the cocktails and the wine pairings too were also really important. So I kind of knew what I wanted. It just took a bit to get it all down.
That's
And
organized.
it took maybe a year and a half to shoot all the photos because we met multiple times, and Gemma and Andy are fantastic and a joy to work with. So we shot everything here in the house. Everything is from my kitchen, all the props and everything. So, and we try to use natural light as much as possible.
I like that description a lot, and that you shot everything at your house and in your garden. And it because it says it's the Lush Life that the title of the book, Lush Life, and pretty kind of it alludes to how to live a lush life through recipes and how you live. And I like that it's authentic like that. It's your actually life. It's not just something that you're striving for, you preach about, but you actually live it, and it's there. So I mean, you kind of laid out how the book is laid out. Can you kind of dig into or describe maybe how the chapters lay out and how someone would use your book in there, not only to create cocktails, but in their how to create the garden, recipes, etc., cooking?
Yeah, of course. Before I tell you about the breakdown of the seasons and the chapters, these are recipes that we make all the time. So it's just, they're tried and true. They're just our everyday recipes, whether we're having a family night of just the four of us, or I have 12 for dinner on a Saturday. It's the same food. So it's super clean and easy to pull together and very, very seasonal. But basically the chapters open up and it's a, kind of a story about what the season looks like for our home and what we do and how we entertain and the occurrences of our life. Like in summer, there's many fiesta recipes that we make. And, so there's, that's the season of our life in Santa Barbara. It was super important that we had those recipes for me because it's really our everyday food. And in the fall, I have like the cake that I make for my husband for his birthday, because it really represents the season of his birthday too. So it's not just actually what's growing in the garden, but it's like the season of our life. So, and then from there, so after that little bit of a discussion about what's in season all around, then we go into recommendations for what to plant, because I think what happens with a lot of cookbooks, rightfully so, is that you're talking about what's in season now. But for me, it was really important to say, what do I plant now so I can cook out of the next chapter. So, in spring, you're pulling fava beans and sugar snap peas and tarragon, but you're also planting tomatoes for summer, and you're planting cucumbers and Fresno peppers and eggplant.
So not only are you living and making recipes with the current season, but you're getting ahead of it and saying, here's what we're doing it, coming up in a few months, and it gives you those directions and that advice.
People ask me all the time, what should I be growing right now? And for me, it comes really naturally because I've been, trial and error for 20 years. But so that was really important for me to add that information, just because I think gardening is a challenge in general. I think people are intimidated to start gardening, but as long as you're planting the right thing at the right time, you're have a head start on success.
Valerie, I feel like I am your avatar for this book, because gardening, I so badly want to. I wish I were you. I'm so jealous that what you're doing. It sounds like you've worked really hard to get to know what you know, but I love that you are thinking ahead for us in the book, because I have no idea what's in season right now. And I certainly have no idea what to be planting for the future. So it sounds like you just really took the mom, the busy woman or man, but I'm going to speak to the women, just helping us, such a guidebook of helping us get our act together. While we do everything else that we're supposed to be doing.
It's true. It's hard to manage it all. But even for me, somebody I'm obsessed with gardening, I still have to plan it in my calendar to be out there. So if I
Yeah.
don't, then, I'm like, I drop off a kid to school and I end up at the grocery store, and then I, will get a workout in if I'm lucky, or a hike. And then,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh shoot, I haven't done anything in the garden. So the days, the phone rings and you have to go to the dry cleaner and all those things. So
Yes.
it's,
Yes, woman.
it's our life. And so I'm pretty squirrely.
Are you in the
So I have
garden
to
every
be
day?
focused. Yeah.
Are you in the garden every day?
So probably not. I mean, yes, because we have chickens, so I'm out there feeding the chickens. But I Tuesdays and Fridays. Are you raising?
I'm just saying, I got chickens too.
I think you need this book, Dr. D. You
I
guys
do.
are starting a greenhouse and a farm.
But I don't
Cat?
think I'll eat the book, because the last time I ate a book, it gave me indigestion.
Yeah.
But I don't think this one will, because it's got some great pictures.
The food. Yeah. The pictures are so great. You almost eat them because they look so real, like a really good fake fruit. Valerie, tell me, I want to know more about you. Like, what's your daily outlook on life in general?
Well, I'm a pretty happy person. So
Yeah, I know you seem like that. What's your secret?
I don't know. Living in
Gardening.
Santa Barbara.
Yeah, that was my follow-up. Are we cheating a little bit because the book is in Santa Barbara, basically Lush Life? How could it not be a Lush Life here in Santa Barbara? Sorry, everybody outside of Santa Barbara and Austin, Texas.
Great. Yeah, I think, living in Santa Barbara, it's amazing. It's just, I grew up in Orange County, so to be here and to just be in this like beautiful small town with amazing hills and beautiful blue ocean, it's really nice. That keeps me happy for sure. So, and
you're really well known in Santa Barbara and many other towns as well. But in Santa Barbara, you people do really follow your life and the Lush life that you lay out on your Instagram and in your blog, and now your cookbook, your debut cookbook. Is it an intentional life that you've chosen, or did it choose you slowly? How did you create this life that so many admire?
It's such a good question. I started off as an avid hobbyist cook as a kid. My mom gave us jobs and responsibilities, setting the table and making the salad dressing, and she welcomed us into her kitchen, and we could do anything we wanted to. We couldn't do anything wrong. So that was a really nice way, that approach to just feeling comfortable in the kitchen. And so they would go off on Sundays and do their thing, whatever they were doing, and I would stay at home and I would watch Jack Pepin and Julia Child. And I would cook something. I would like make something and make the biggest mess. I'm sorry, Mom. But that really set the stage for me being obsessed about food, and then we would travel. My mom's from Belgium, so we would go and visit my grandmother and my nieces, or not my nieces, but my cousins and aunts and uncles. And my grandmother had this beautiful little cottage house and a gorgeous garden. And I grew up in Newport Beach. Like, it was, you got your food at the Ralph's. So to see it firsthand like that, as a kid behind the orange curtain, was eye-opening. And so then that it all kind of melded together, right? So I had that inspiration from my grandmother and the passion for food, and then I met my husband in Santa Barbara, and he was a wine collector and wine enthusiast. So that kind of brought everything together. And actually cooking with wine in mind really made my entire process more streamlined. Right? I was using less ingredients and just trying to hone my skills, and and really so it's all kind of multifaceted in how it came together. But cooking with wine in mind really taught me how to cook in a very clean way.
Was there was obviously a spark there between the two of you, where he brought his love and knowledge of wine, and your love and passion for cooking, and it just created this common interest between the two of you. Now,
this tiny little kitchen. It was like a hot plate and a Holly Hobby oven, and it wasn't fancy at all. So it
Do you
was,
miss it? Do you miss
yeah,
those days at all?
it's charming. Definitely more manageable.
Now, as I get older, traditions mean more to me. Traditions that I didn't really care about or even like when I was a kid, like sometimes the obligatory Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas dinner, or with a lot of family and a lot of people around a table and all the chaos. Sometimes that's a drag when you're younger. As I get older, though, eating in front of a television rather than sitting around a table, and I don't know how many people actually sit down around a table with their kids. I bet Kat does.
I do.
I bet Dr. D does. But how many, people sit around a table rather than turning on the television, just zoning out and not speaking? How big are those traditions in living a lush life, in your opinion?
Yeah,
Valerie?
that's everything. It's everything, really. I mean, that's we have dinner together every night as a family, and it's just kind of a nice pause, especially now with my older daughter driving. I feel like we don't have that time in the car as much together.
Mhm.
So at least we have the time around the dinner table, and we just, I mean, it's not without, discussions, fiery discussions, and that's always interesting. And
Somebody not eating their peas and not leaving the table.
I wish that was it.
Yeah, if it were only that simple.
And I mean, it's just an opportunity for us just to be in a room, just all together and
Yeah.
talking and just touching base with each other. It means so much, and that's how I was raised. So I think I knew that whenever I raised my own family, that family meal was always going to be a part of our.
Did you like the family meal then when you were a kid?
I did, other than having to eat my vegetables.
Yeah. And now look at you growing a big garden and bringing lots
I
of it.
know.
But you taste food differently too. I think if you slow down and actually not only have the conversations around the table, but you've got the great food in front of you, the food that you picked and grew yourself, and there's some pride in that. And then you sit around the table, and even if your kids or your people that you're with don't speak, you learn a lot about them, or you connect, right? And I think you connect with food.
Definitely. And it goes back to that time, even, when I was with my grandmother in Belgium, I didn't speak Dutch and she didn't speak English. So we just had this like language together, the physicality of being in the garden together. And I think the same thing happens just with a simple dinner with your family. Kind of calls upon you don't have to talk, you don't have to do anything, but you're together and everybody's moving around and having, setting the table or putting things on the table, and it's kind of a dance that you do.
There's an energy there,
Mm-hmm.
and that a quiet energy that's in that tradition. That do you hear from people, fans that follow your Instagram or your blog, or that have picked up the cookbook at these signings that you've been to in the last few days? Are you hearing from your fans or followers that this is something that they don't do and they'd love to try and to create more of in their life? Or what do you hear? What's the feedback?
I don't know about the family meal per se, but I think my greatest joy since the book launch, just, this week, is just getting texts from friends that they're reading it and they're writing recipes and taking pictures and sending them to me. My best friends, people that I are my everyday friends that I hike with, they, just to have the recipes in front of them and give me the feedback, and it's been really a great joy.
We've got to take a quick break, but before we do, you've mentioned a couple of times your grandmother, and through the years on the shows here with the different chefs and people that have been on talking about food, the grandmother always comes up. So I just wanted to throw a pin in that right now and put it to the top and say, thank you, grandmothers, for all the food that you've shared and all the love that has come through, shining through in your food, and that has been passed on for the rest of us to enjoy. You got to pick up a copy right now. We're going to take a quick break, so you got no excuses. You have plenty of time. Go to Amazon and order Lush Life, food and drinks from the garden. by author Valerie Rice and photographer Gemma Ingalls. You can also pick it up at Chaucer's if you're here in Santa Barbara. And where else, Valerie? In
Barnes
Southern
and
Cal.
Noble, Rogers Garden has it in Newport Beach, and upstairs at Pierre LaFond in town has it. Field
Really?
Oh,
Decor.
wow.
Mhm.
This is a perfect
Awesome.
Mother's Day gift.
Ooh.
Awesome.
All right, we'll be right back with Valerie Rice, Lush Life, food and drinks from the garden.
Very nice.
Cool.
Yeah. Learned a valuable lesson, Valerie, about grandmothers. They cooked great food. You loved it. But when you go looking for it out in the world, you never find that which your grandmother made because she added one ingredient nobody else can add.
The love.
That's it. That you got it. Okay, here we go. Number 2 in 3.
Kat, I'm
Two.
going to take first question, you second, okay? And we'll start our thing. We'll start our dance.
There you go. 3, 2, 1, you're live.
Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. We have Valerie Rice on. Her new book is Lush Life, Food and Drinks from the Garden. It is beautifully photographed by Gemma Ingalls, and you can pick it up all over. If you'd like to have it sent to your door and not go out, it's at Amazon.com. Everybody
Yeah.
knows that.
Mm.
That big place to buy books. Give me three lessons for living a lush life by Valerie Rice. What Valerie Rice's three rules for living a lush life.
Cooking seasonally, definitely.
Mm.
Number 1. Being in tune with the rhythm of the seasons and what they offer, and picking great ingredients.
Love it.
My
Hold on, I'm writing that down.
I can see you.
Can you hold 1 second?
Say that again.
Yeah. What was that?
What was the third one again? I'm sorry.
Just press rewind.
My black thumbs are in the way. I do not have green
Not
thumbs.
true. We're going to work on those thumbs.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have a conversation after this show.
There might be a fee involved, Kat. I don't think she advises for free.
I can't pay you in love
Well,
dollars.
She doesn't need any more zucchinis or squash or anything for trade, so you're gonna have to probably come up with dollars.
Or chicken eggs.
She
Not
has
that I
all that.
could
I know.
grow a zucchini or anything. But speaking of picking good ingredients, where's the first place when you step into your garden? I'm imagining like this Garden of Eden, like paradise in your backyard. So when you step into your garden, like what's the first thing you do? Where's the first place you go? Is it
I usually just check things out, see how
do a
things
sweep?
grow. Yeah, exactly. I do. I have 3 beds just outside of our kitchen. And so 3 veggie beds, and they're quite large, and I have a lot of stuff in there. So I just kind of check, see what's going. Is anything getting eaten? Are they thriving? Do the tomatoes need to be, pruned a little bit? You have to remove the suckers from the tomato plant so they grow more fruit. And
Yeah, I knew that. Just kidding. didn't know that. Learning every second.
So just checking on the water level, and that's kind of the first thing I do.
Do you talk to the plants? Like, do you name them? I would name them.
Have you seen me in my backyard?
I want to know if you're barefoot. Are you barefoot when you're out there? Is that part of the deal? Always?
Yeah, always.
Connecting with the soil?
Yeah, and we have gravel pathways and it hurts, but I always run outside. I think I'm, born and raised in Southern California, beach girl, so my feet must be kind of tough at this point.
Well, did you say we got to take another break real quick, Dr. D? Let's do that and get that out of the way, because I want to come back and talk about your good friend and the friend of this show, Chef Suzanne Goen. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Jeremiah Show. The new book by Valerie Rice is A Lush Life and Food and Drinks from the Garden. Yeah. The photographer is Gemma Ingalls. We'll be right back after this quick break.
Very nice. Very nice.
Very cool.
And we have now, is yours a garden or a greenhouse?
It's a garden. I don't have
Okay.
a greenhouse actually, but you do, I heard.
Yes, I do.
And
My
do you-
wife does. I should say, and by the way, it is her sanctuary. So when she goes out into the backyard to do her thing with the garden, with the greenhouse, I don't go with her. I used to, but because that's her sanctuary, that's her space. I have mine. I have my studio in the house. I even told her this. I says, unless you ask me, and when I went out there the other night, I approached within 10 feet and I said, may I enter your sacred space? And she said, first of all, thank you for asking. And yes, you may.
I thought she was going to say no.
Well, hey, that is her prerogative. She may be in there. And I when I go out there to water and I tell her, I talk to the plants too. I go, man, you guys are doing incredible. You're looking great. And they are just flourishing. And speaking of flourishing, here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. We have author Valerie Rice on Lush Life, Food and Drinks from the Garden. You've got a very famous chef friend who wrote the foreword, Suzanne Goen. I'm just going to read the first paragraph here because I need to hear more about this. Suzanne says, I've been lucky enough to enjoy more than a few meals and drinks and bottles of wine at Valerie Rice's stunning Southern California paradise of a home. And I have to say that whoever came up with the title Lush Life has hit the nail directly on the head. But it's not just the beautiful setting, the glorious garden, or the flavorful and captivating food and drink. The lushness stems right from Valerie's heart and soul. Her passion for gardening, cooking, and entertaining is a triumph virate of riches. I've pronounced that incorrectly, but sorry, Suzanne. To be enjoyed by anyone who finds themselves fortunate enough to be welcomed into her home. This passion and love for ingredients, where they come from, and the art of time around the table are Valerie's magic. And she has captured that spirit and meticulously passed it along in these pages. Time. I like that. I like that Suzanne picked that out about you. The passion of love for ingredients and the time around the table. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your friend? And I don't mean you don't have to tell about all the bottles of wine and the great parties, but unless you'd like, unless you'd like to, nobody's listening. Just us four.
Yeah, Suzanne is amazing, and
Yeah, she is.
what a lovely introduction she wrote. I was like in tears when I read it the first time. So, yeah, she's just lovely. We've been friends for years and years, and then she's obviously, spearheads the LA Loves Alex's Lemonade event, and I've been on that committee since almost the first year. So, and we just try to see each other when we can. And
since you brought Alex's Lemonade up, could you tell the listeners? Would you mind describing what that is and how you're involved? Because this is we love to promote this on the show and make more people aware.
Well, it's an organization that it raises money for pediatric research, cancer research, and it's started by a girl with cancer, Alex, and she said, Mom, Dad, I really would like to raise money so that we can get better, and I can get better, and other kids can get better. And I'm paraphrasing here. And she said, maybe I could have a lemonade stand. And so she had a lemonade stand and collected her money and brought in the glass jar to her doctor on her next visit. And from that, it spawned into this amazing, wonderful organization that reaches so many families and so many disease states. So it's just a joy to be a part of. And I think having children, you realize how precious, precious health is.
Yeah.
And it definitely pulls at heartstrings, and it's a neat thing to be involved in just because you're making things better.
Go to alexslemonade.org.
You turned your microphone on your computer?
No. Hold on one second. Technical difficulty.
Yeah.
There you go.
How's that? I didn't hit
Continue?
anything, but maybe.
No problem. 3, 2, 1.
go to alexslemonade.org, and it's really cool. I don't think last year they had to cancel the the event, but you can register now for June 5th through the 13th. It's so if supporters from all over set up stands and events to raise money. How much do you know how much money has been raised? I see 18.5 million here. I think last year Suzanne said they raised something like 12 million or something. I mean, it's just a crazy amount from Alex's, the money that she raised, which was quite a large amount to what it's become. I mean, every top chef, celebrity chef, regular restaurateur and chef, everybody gets involved in this. This is such a great cause.
Yeah, and they're there. You have Nancy Silverton is there cooking for you, and Donald Link, and all these amazing chefs, which is really exciting and wonderful. And the food's delicious. And also, Alex's Lemonade really has been a part of our family. We go with the kids to the event, and then they always participate in lemonade days. And it was a really neat opportunity for our girls when they were young, and to this day, honestly, because they were able to get in front of their classmates and tell the class what they were doing and why they were doing it. And it was, really a proud moment for my husband and I, just watching that whole process. So it's neat.
Well, I bet. And thank you for making everyone aware of it and being a part of it and sharing it here. When I wanted to go back to your cookbook and just the lush life that you live, that you describe in the title of your new book, how much time do you spend smelling your ingredients, your creations, your cocktails? How important is aroma and smell to the lush life experience?
I think it's everything, right? I mean, if it smells good, it's going to taste good. And it's so part of the process of, especially right now. I don't know about where you guys are, but, we walk outside, it's like lemon blossoms and orange blossoms galore. And it's tantalizing, beautiful. You want to bottle that smell. So it really creates just an opportunity to taste on more levels when you have beautiful aroma too.
Yeah, we're so lucky here in Southern California, especially Santa Barbara. There are so many fruit trees, so many different types of plants, and the weather is so great that, from vineyards with the sea smoke, fog, and the great grapes that are produced because of the temperatures and the sea and the fog and the coolness to the citrus. How would you describe Santa Barbara to a listener out there in the world who has not yet been, but should come with a copy of Lush Life under their arm?
It really is a love letter to Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
What I wrote. It's just it's Santa Barbara is certainly the guest star in the book pages. But yeah, I mean, small town values, interesting people, glorious weather. And back to the aroma and smell, the native chaparral, the oak trees, all of that combined with the citrus, it's just a very robust kind of not only visual experience, but
yeah.
Yeah.
We are speaking this entire hour. Thank you, Valerie, for giving us an hour of your time. We're talking to Valerie Rice. You know her here in Santa Barbara. You know her for her new cookbook. And if you don't, you should, and you will. Lush Life, Food and Drinks from the Garden, by author Valerie Rice, available online at Amazon and in Santa Barbara at Chaucer's. The photographer really did a great job, Gemma Ingalls, and we will be right back with more Lush Life, Food and Drinks from the Garden.
All right, stand by. Let me clean up that one spot.
Yeah, well, thank you.
You bet.
Valerie, is there anything that you really want to talk about that we, just so we don't, I mean, we've got a lot more, but is there anything that you really feel strongly that you want to get out there?
No, I mean, I think it's moving so beautifully and comfortably. So I
Okay,
think
good.
covering
Okay. All right, then we have to change our tactics because it's not supposed to be this comfortable.
Yeah.
It should be
This is
really,
long as-
really hard.
As long as we don't fall asleep. But Dr. D, you can actually fall asleep if you like. Otherwise, we're going to get sound effects.
That's right.
Our sound effects man, our sound man. Kat, why don't you bring us back and take away? If you-
Yeah, Kat, why don't you bring us back? and
Oh,
we'll
dear.
go to the next
Here we
show.
go.
Hang on, it's not finished yet. No, still working here. Line things up. So we
Valerie,
have
how's
an
the book
accurate-
doing so well so far? I know it's only been out since May 4th, right?
Really, yeah, really good. And so we had our launch on Saturday though at Field and Fort, and we sold a ton of
We
books.
sold 1 million
Awesome.
copies.
I want to, it's like having a little kid in the background, repeating everything you say. I want to make sure, Kat, that we talk about the AOC event. So we might want to do that now, just so we get it in the radio airtime.
Okay.
Do you want
Can
to
you
skip
just
to
tell me
that?
briefly what that? Just
Go
give me just 2
to,
seconds.
let's see. Okay, go to like, what page? It doesn't say what page, but it's under promos, or right before promos.
No,
And
no,
just,
I see that piece. I just didn't know what AOC
well,
was.
yeah,
but-
AOC
well,
is
let's-
Suzanne Goen and Caroline Steins.
All right,
So why don't you go from, how long do we have for
20
radio?
minutes.
I know, but how much for radio?
this
though?
is the last segment.
Okay,
this
so
is
we
the
gotta
last-
do it
There's
here
no
or there.
more break. Yeah, do it right
Okay.
up front. Right
So,
up front.
I'll just bring us back and then I'll just go straight in to tell us about your AOC event.
yeah.
There you
the
go.
event.
3.
Dun-dun.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Your life.
Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. We're here with Valerie Rice, who just wrote a beautiful, beautiful book called Lush Life, Food and Drinks from the Garden. And want to be sure we talk about your upcoming event, the AOC event. Can you talk to us and tell us what that is?
Yeah, so I'll be at AOC on May 25th, and we're going to do a cookbook dinner. Suzanne and Carolyn are hosting me there, and you can make reservations at their website at AOC, at the AOC web address. I don't know it off the top of my head, but yeah, it's going to be great. We have I think, we're making the ceviche and a lot of the ingredients, a lot of the recipes from the spring chapter.
Oh, fantastic. So they're actually using your book as a guide. Is
Yeah.
it strictly your book? Or are they blending in some of their own?
The
recipes?
cookbook dinner it's predominantly my recipes, which is really amazing. So
That's fantastic.
I'll do that for you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it. I wanted to
Uh,
ask a question. Oh,
Can
go
I,
ahead.
I'm sorry. Let me just read real quickly the time and date, if you don't mind, Kat, here,
Yeah,
because we haven't done
yeah.
that. We do have the commercials here, some information, but it's Tuesday, May 25th. Reservations from 5 to 10. It's at AOC, which is at 8700 West 3rd Street, Los Angeles, California. Make your reservations at 310-859-9859. Again, 310-859-9859. Let me do that one more time. 310-859-9859. Or go to aocwinebar.com. Back to you, Kat.
I wanted to know if so when you're writing your book and it's very focused on the seasons, is it focused on this country? Have you traveled? Are you bringing in anything else from other parts of the world? Or are you just focusing mainly on, California? Or how do you approach that as a chef who I'm imagining sound like you can do anything and everything? How do you do that when you're putting a book together? What area of the world do you kind of focus on?
Well, travel influences everything from the cocktails
Mhm.
to the food I make to even garden inspiration comes from travel as well. Yeah, when you go and you travel and you have those experiences, it's kind of hard not to then come back and want to recreate it in your home. So, the Swiss chard and the quiche and you prepare it inspired by something that you had, and then all of a sudden the travel comes to you. So it was really especially important during quarantine because I felt like we had the opportunity to be in our minds someplace else just with the food that we ate.
Mm.
And also when you have a garden, you do have a lot of produce. So it's nice to be able to have the agility to cook from other cultures to keep things interesting. So you'll have like a Moroccan eggplant dish and then an Italian eggplant dish, and both of those are in the cookbook. And, there's, we have a lot of Mexican recipes, because really that's our everyday food here at our home in Santa Barbara, especially, and Italian recipes, because my grandmother was Italian on my dad's side, and Belgian recipes. And it was really interesting during the writing process how much I realized like my parents' marriage was on a plate.
Oh, wow.
You have recipes from my mom's side and recipes from my dad's side, and somehow they meld together in a way on the plate. And that was really interesting. Something I didn't realize I was doing until it was all down.
What would that look like? Draw me, like, just create a picture for me. What would that look like with, your mom and dad kind of on a plate? What would the food be?
So a great example is in the spring chapter, there's a baked pasta, which is, in Belgium, you have the endive wrapped with ham, and then you cover it in bechamel, and then it's Gruyere cheese, and then you roast it in the oven so it gets warm and crumbly and delicious on the top. And so I took that concept, and without really even realizing it, and then I'm like, well, we don't really have endive here. So when we love fennel, which I always associate with more Italian cooking. And so I braised the fennel and made the stock that I would normally make with the endive preparation for the bechamel. And then we put the ham, and we cooked it in with pasta. So it's just a kind of a beautiful marriage of those two styles of cooking on one plate. So
I love that. I love that. How do your kids enjoy taste testing, or they have their palates, like, what are your kids' palates like compared to like the average kid? Are they just sort of used to eating things that are just, quite elevated? Obviously, this is not I know it can be everyday food, but I feel like sometimes we get busy and we get in ruts and we just don't. And that's kind of one of the things you probably want to break people free of, is like to be able to see that it is easy to do something that's a little bit different. But, I would imagine your girls have grown up just trying some amazing things. Were they ever picky eaters?
oh yeah.
Surprise, surprise.
It makes me feel better.
Yeah.
And both like different things. So, I just tried to offer a selection of things, and everybody can pick what they want. And I know whatever I made was good, and if they don't want it, that's their choice. But it's one really likes red meat, and the other one prefers fish. And so it's just funny how just everybody's different, and they have a different appreciation for what's on the plate. But I think traveling really kind of exposed them, not only like what's growing in the backyard, because ultimately I'm a mom making food for my family, like anybody, right? So what I end up choosing to put out there, maybe the girls would rather be at the neighbor's house eating, boxed macaroni and cheese. So I think it's always that balance of just trying to be, offer what you think is important for them to try, and also just go easy too.
If I may ask, I don't know if you've done any research in this particular area. As we probably in general all know that certain colors, like Jeremiah would probably say that if you're going to open a bar or a lounge or something like that, you want to do a lot of red tones, right? That kind of encourages people to drink. All right. If you are looking to
hamburger drive-through.
Well,
no, I know. I'm sorry.
All right.
Keep
and
going.
then you've got music. People might say, well, we're going to play classical music to keep people relaxed, and if they're there eating, if it is a restaurant, okay, or any place else. I'm not sure how music falls into this, but anyway, so I'm curious as to if you've ever researched or heard about certain foods, whether they be international, like the ethnic foods you're talking about, or if certain food combinations will achieve a particular, and you're not trying to manipulate people, but when you smell the house at Thanksgiving, you get certain memories and they make you feel a certain way. is there anything in your cooking style that incorporates that or takes that into account that I would really like to jazz people up? So we're going to use lots of, maybe peppers, or I don't know what you would use. Or if you want to keep people calm in that respect, or you want them to feel relaxed and comfortable. Maybe that's the best way to put it. You're sort of encouraging them to sort of get into the vibe of, say, the evening.
Well, I haven't done any research on this topic in particular, but I will tell you that your guests being comfortable is really important. And I think if a lot of people want to entertain and they get nervous about it, and ultimately you're just like nourishing your friends and family, right? So I think it's important. You have to nourish yourself. I think as a host, you have to eat food first and show people it's okay to take a bite from the crudité.
It's not poisoned. You don't need a taste tester.
Exactly. And I think music plays such a role, even in a family meal. I think when we turn on music for just a Wednesday night, a simple family meal, that really just changes the feeling, the overall, it just feels like more of a celebration on ordinary night if you put music on. And I think that's fun, especially because, my husband and I have different music tastes and kids like different stuff. So it's kind of fun to, we pass the Sonos around and everybody picks a song, and that's really fun too. Yeah. So I think just having fun and being conscientious that it's about being together, and that's the most important thing is really one of them.
And if I can do a quick follow-up on that, how when you go into the kitchen, is there a moment where you go, okay, I need to center myself now. I want to focus. I want to impart love to the food, as opposed to going, I don't want to do this. I want the food. And I've often wondered, Jeremiah, if you had two chefs together, you're making exactly the same dish, but you're going to really tick off one chef and make them really angry. Okay. And see how different the food tastes. Because as I said, as we were talking about grandmothers before, there's that one ingredient that nobody else can duplicate. And that's the love that she puts into it. What's your mindset? How do you get yourself focused, especially maybe if you were just in the other room and you just had a little.
Well, I would turn on some good music.
Wine.
Pour myself a drink, maybe a salty dog or a Negroni or something.
Ooh, I like that. Salty dog.
and I make a list. Like, honestly, I have to write everything down. So I think I have like big notepads, it just kind of keeps me focused. And but I love cooking, so it's a joy for me. There are times when, yes, we go out to dinner or whatever, but I really generally enjoy cooking. So, and I really feel like when you cook with the seasons, it just takes the guesswork out of things. So like right now we have tons of celery in the garden, and we have these beautiful potatoes and that we just pulled out, which I put on Instagram yesterday. And,
what time is dinner?
I'm packing my suitcase right now, Valerie.
So it's just really neat. Like there's that mustardy potato salad with the cornichon and all of those things together. And we have the beets growing right now and the blood oranges that we're pulling from the tree. So
blood orange margaritas.
Oh my God.
And it's not fussy. It's not meltdown inducing. It's just simple stuff together, just using what I'm blessed to have in my backyard. But honestly, farmer's market, grocery store, corner store, like wherever you are, Mesa Produce, Tri-County, just, whatever grows together, goes together. And you just don't need a lot of ingredients.
Jeremiah, what she is doing to us right now,
she's teasing us.
I would rather be waterboarded than this.
We have 2 hours to go, Valerie. This is not fair. We have 2 hours to go here in the studio.
And then the next show, we talk about food too. It's like, why are we doing 2 food shows? Like,
I know.
Back to back, Jeremiah.
How come we don't have food in front of us? And a salty.
I don't blame Valerie. Now I blame you.
Valerie, I'd like you to have the final words here and tell before we go and tell. By the way, you've been listening to Valerie Rice all hour long, and she's given us an inside peek to Lush Life, food and drink from the garden. Her new book, it's so well photographed. There's over 150 recipes, seasonally organized. You've also got instructions on how to plant your garden and live the lush life wherever you live. If you are listening to us in Russia, it's probably a lot of potatoes, but you can make some great vodka out of that all year round. There's a lush life. And Valerie, I want you to have the final words here and tell the listeners we can find you on it's Eat Drink Garden, right, on Instagram.
Eat Drink Garden.
Eat Drink Garden on Instagram. Beautiful, a lot of fun to follow. Pick up the book, Amazon or local bookstores. And Valerie Rice, tell the listeners why they should pick up a copy of Lush Life.
You should, well, because it's a fantastic book. No, it's, it's really, like I said earlier,
How will improve their life? How will
it's a handbook for the good life, right? I mean, it's really just kind of, and the recipes are simple, and some are more simple than others, but for the most part, they're simple, they're seasonal, they're delicious, and really, it's just about having fun. Like the tone is light, it's meant to be enjoyed, and just like your dinner party or your family dinner. Sit
around the table, pick up a copy of Lush Life, Food and Drink from the Garden by Valerie Rice. Step 2, go to your garden. Step 3, if you don't have a garden, go to one of the places she recommended that you can get great produce. Put your family, sit them down around the table, and on a Wednesday night, turn on some great music. Lush Life, Food and Drink from the Garden. Valerie Rice has been our guest all hour. Thank you so much, Valerie. Happy Mother's Day. And the last thing I want to say is there's a lot of great restaurants out there reopening. Go support them if you can. It's been a rough year. Locally here at AOC in Santa Barbara, or excuse me, LA, AOC, the event, the book signing event for Valerie is on May 26th, right, Valerie? I lost 25th, excuse me. And also here in town, Acme Hospitality, they've got 8 or so great restaurants. Fill up your mom with a lot of good food and drink. Take her to all of them if you can in one day. She'll love you for it. Mm-hmm. Communicate, listen more, and evolve. And everybody have a great week. Happy Mother's Day to all of you out there, to my mom, Franny Higgins, and to Kat and Valerie. And Dr. D, I think you've been a mother here once or twice in your life. So happy Mother's Day.
I've been referred to it a few times. Yes.
Mother Dr. D. Have a great week, everybody. Goodbye.